Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to another edition of the 205 Live NXT Recap Show. I am Mr. Warren Hayes, right here on Fightful Select, bringing you another recap of these two fantastic hours of WWE programming that we get on a weekly basis, and now back to its initial form. In a certain way, back with 205 Live on Tuesdays, immediately after SmackDown at 10 p.m. Then NXT still on Wednesdays at 9. I gotta tell you guys, I'm kind of disappointed. I really got into the groove of these two great hours of wrestling. 3 when you add NXT UK in there. It's like, wow, Wednesday nights have really become super special. Now it's just like, you still get NXT, but it'll be, I'll get used to it again. It'll be fine. I'll get back into the groove. But Wednesdays had become kind of special. But they'll probably still be special. We'll see what they do with NXT UK from this point on, right? Because there's no new episode of NXT UK this week. They're replaying TakeOver Blackpool as I'm filming this right now, recording. So the next episode will most likely be next week. And I think going to keep giving us 2 hours of NXT UK versus 1. Anyway. We'll see what happens, but maybe next week we'll come back to the initial vision. That is to have a 205 Live NXT UK recap show. We'll see. We'll see what happens if they do 2 hours. Look, we're entirely at the mercy of Vince McMahon and his company. Entirely. That's how I schedule my free time now. It's on Vince's whims and programming decisions. Glad you guys are here. Hope you've been enjoying your time on Select. If you're a new member, because we did get quite a few new subscriptions recently, or so I've been told. Hopefully you're enjoying the service of you're checking out all the great stuff that's here. Sean Rossap, managing editor, just released a new Fightful Weekly. That's his it's like the mothership podcast of the Fightful service. I'm here. How you doing? We also released, it's Royal Rumble season. We also released a retro pay-per-view review of Royal Rumble 1988. It's a weird show, and not a bad show. Just weird because there's a lot of oddball stuff going on. It was a lot of fun to review. I did it with Sean. Should check that out. It's on the service. Go check it out. It's a good time. Lots of stuff here. If you're an old hand at Fightful Select, well, of course, you know what's going on already. You don't need me to walk you through this. What you do need me to walk you through, though, is tonight's episode of 205 Live, coming off a fantastic main event match last week. Hideo Itami versus Cedric Alexander. They were jockeying for position, let's not forget, to become the final member of the Fatal 4-Way that will take place at Royal Rumble in 2 weeks. And, the Hideo Itami won. That's not much. We're not in spoiler territory anymore. I mean, it's happened over a week ago, so we talked about it already. I mean, there's no surprises here. So he's the last man who's going to be joining Buddy Murphy, Kalisto, and Akira Tozawa at SummerSlam. Should be a lot of fun. And next week they're going to be having, when I say they, I mean Itami, Kalisto, and Tozawa are going to have a triple threat match for some reason, probably to wet our whistles as far as the cruiserweight match at Royal Rumble goes. Get us excited about that. I got to tell you, I'm looking forward to it. But for now, we're going to focus on the first match of the evening, that occurred between one Lio Rush and Lindsay Dorado. Lindsay and Lio Rush, at least Rush reminds us or tells us, advises that he still has beef with Lindsay Dorado from their match they had with his match that he had against the Lucha House Party a couple of weeks ago. First of all, Leo starts off his promo telling us that we have tuned in tonight to Leo 5 Live. I like it. Has a ring to it, doesn't it? I'm okay with that. So he cuts a promo. He says he doesn't come here to party, to make friends, and he blames Lindsay for killing a shot at the Cruiserweight title because, as I was saying, Lindsay Dorado came to the ring with the rest of the Lucha House Party, and they sort of distracted Lio Rush enough to allow Kalisto to win. And he's kind of mad. He kind of feels that Lindsay cost him the title. That brings out the Lucha House Party. And of course, it's the opening match of 205 Live. You can't call it an opening match on 205 Live if the Lucha House Party are not involved. So they come to they approach the ring. Leo has the microphone and says, "Look, this is exactly what I was talking about. You know, Lindsay, that's why you come out here with your boys. You can't beat me on a one-on-one match. It's just as simple. None of you can." But Lindsay's like, "Okay, fine." And he throws his vest at Leo. But he acquiesces and he's like, okay. He sends Grand Metalik and Kalisto back. And Leo attacks Lindsay before the bell rings as Lucha House Party is leaving. Spinning heel kick, though, from Lindsay Dorado on Leo. And Lindsay as quickly is in control. Snap suplex. Covers Leo. Only gets 2. Leo battles back with some of his quickness, his momentum shifts. Lindsay drops to his back and Leo plants him with a right. Talks a little trash, calls him a piece of crap. If you want to believe that. Lindsay, Leo then runs the ropes. Lindsay grabs him with a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker off the ropes. Lindsay then does that falling tree body press. I don't know what it has to have a name. And where he just stands really straight and stiff, crosses his arms over his chest, and just lets himself fall forward like a trust exercise kind of thing. A trust fall. Maybe that's how I'll call it a trust fall from now on. Lindsay goes up top to the top rope, but Leo moves out of the way. He goes on the apron and he rolls out of the way, I should say. Leo goes on the apron and kicks Lindsay into the post, and he trips Lindsay, so he falls out of the ring. Leo then does a moonsault off the apron onto Lindsay, who's on the outside, and it's a big, big moonsault with a lot of momentum. Leo's momentum carries him right into the commentary table. That didn't look quite planned, and he hit it. He hit it hard enough. Maybe not crazy hard, but hard enough for me to go. He rolls Lindsay back in the ring, covers him, but only gets 2. Leo avoids a springboard body press, diving kick to Lindsay's head, covers him, and then gets 2 again. Rush then grounds Dorado with a chin lock, follows up with some strikes. He suplexes Dorado, covers him, but only gets 2. Lindsay battles back, hits a jawbreaker, a drop kick, bulldogs Lio Rush. Goes for the golden rewind, but it gets reversed, and Leo kicks him to the head with a spinning roundhouse kick, covers him, and gets 2 again. Lindsay then gets a high crossbody off the top rope. He chops Lio Rush down, rolling kick on Leo. Rush then takes his little frame to the outside, and Lindsay dives onto him. Back in the ring, Dorado hits the trifecta of moonsaults. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't watch it, you have no idea what I'm talking about, this is what it is. He does his first he does a moonsault off the first turnbuckle, another moonsault off the second turnbuckle, and then a third off the top. He covers Leo, but only gets 2. Lindsay hits 3 big kicks, running kicks off the ropes. The golden rewind is avoided again. Leo eats a crescent kick, and Dorado goes for the golden rewind again, and he hits it this time, covers, and only gets 2. Lindsay goes up top, while Leo he's in the ropes. He's crawling towards the ropes, actually, and he's trying to get out. He's trying to get out of the ring between the third and second rope. And Lindsay then flies right off with a leg drop guillotine across Leo's neck as he's hanging over the second rope. That was a cool spot. But Rush hits the split-legged moonsault for the win. After the match, he attacks Dorado, and that gets the rest of Lucha House Party to come out for the save. Rush hits the bricks through the audience. I gotta tell you, you guys and gals, I was not impressed. Well, I mean, not impressed, because it was a solid match. There was nothing really wrong with it, but both Dorado and Leo Rush have their speed is part of their gimmick, it's part of their thing as wrestlers. That's what they do, kind of thing. It's really strange. It's really, really strange to have seen them work such a slow-paced match tonight. It was really, really weird, considering who these two guys are. Lindsay is, he's the cat. He's quick as a cat. Leo Rush's swiftness is that's part of his legend. That's part of his persona, his wrestling style. It was strangely slow. I don't know if this is what they're trying to do with Leo Rush. They keep talking about the fact that he's becoming more aggressive, change of style. So the heels, when they start doing that, they slow the pace down. But you can be an efficient heel, a good heel, without slowing everything down. You don't have to do that anymore. It's not 1983. I think there's something to be said about a good explosive heel as well. Backstage, we have Noam Dar. He's talking trash about Nese, and lo and behold, Tony Nese arrives. He tells Noam Dar that he got lucky. Noam Dar said, "Yeah, but you still lost." Nese says, 99 times out of 100, I'll beat you. Tony Nese, Noam Dar says, but you still lost. He repeats that a couple of times. He's getting under Nese's skin. And that made me think 99 times out of 100. What if I'm just spitballing here. I don't know if anyone in WWE Creative is subscribed to Fightful Select, $5 a month. Why? I wonder if I want to see Noam Dar and Tony Nese go for a best of 99 series. I don't know I think that's something I'd like to see. Then we see Drake Maverick. He's with TJP. Drake assumes that he came to see him because he wants the shot at Buddy Murphy, but it's already been claimed by a new superstar. Drake says that Drake starts to say, that he appreciates the fact that TJP coming in here for an opportunity, that he likes this attitude that he has, and TJP sort of laughs and walks off. What a dick. What a dick. Who walks away while he's getting compliments? Boo. Net neutrality won't save you now, TJP. You're a dick. We get a series of promos from the four-way challengers. Very, very standard stuff. Kalisto, Tozawa, with Brian Kendrick. I keep writing Spanky in my notes. Kalisto Tozawa and Itami. Itami has Arya Daivari talking for him. Very bog standard stuff. Nothing to make you pause and rewind here. Main event time. Budworth Murphy comes to the ring. He has a microphone. He tells the audience, "Shut your mouth. I got something to say. I am the greatest cruiserweight of all time." He says his challengers are getting a 3-way next week. He keeps cutting his promo, and he's getting wadded by the audience, of course, in the meantime. And he tells the audience, "Don't watt me." And basically he says, "All right, I'm ready for my challenge, my open challenge. Whoever has the weight, whoever is under the 205-pound limit can come in." And we get, who is it? Who comes out? None other than Humberto Carrillo. Well, I mean, here's the thing. The guy comes, I've seen him a couple of times in NXT. He's fantastic. Don't get me wrong. You know, I really believe that it was about time for him to get out of NXT, because he's the kind of guy who would have got lost in the shuffle there for sure. But then you get you bring him on to 205 Live, he'll fit right in. Former Ultimo Ninja, they mentioned it in the audience. He's related to not in the audience of a commentary. Why did the audience didn't say anything? The audience was actually pretty terrible tonight. We'll get to that. But Carrillo is Hector Garza's nephew. He's related to him. It's his nephew. I don't want to seem underwhelmed, but it's not the shattering revelation that we were expecting. Or were we expecting a shattering revelation? No, maybe not. But you know, it wasn't the most exciting person to add. I mean, like for most of us, he's just a new guy. He's a new guy. You know, they kept putting over the fact that he wasn't in NXT, but his star didn't really shine in NXT. He had some good matches, but I mean, that's pretty much it. John in the chat says, "Damn it, I thought it would be a Bushi." Well, you were setting yourself up for disappointment from the start, John. Cyborg in the chat says, "I was hoping for Ricochet." Gonna be honest, it's kind of looking forward to that as well. Coming out with the North American title, champ versus champ. But then again, that it would have been the kind of match that would have deserved a little build-up. Just a little build-up. A lot of build-up. Anyway, so Murphy starts working Carrillo's arm early on, and he flip reverses out of the bar. He trips Murphy down and gets a headlock in. Carrillo is whipped into the ropes, and Murphy just stands right there and shoulder blocks him down, just like boom, brick wall, man. That Buddy Murphy, we don't talk enough about his center of gravity because it would be a stupid conversation piece. Lots of evasive maneuvers follow, and Murphy is confounded. Doesn't know what to do. There was a nice little sequence there. There's a handshake spot here, but Murphy instead decides to taunt Carrillo and hits him with a snapmare. Carrillo is on his feet with two arm drags. Then he hits a lucha arm drag, drop kick, and Murphy rolls out to the outside. Murphy dodges the baseball slide that Carrillo attempts. Moonsault. Murphy tries to shove him down a couple of times. There's a lot of evasiveness. He's trying to get he being Carrillo, he's trying to get some offense in, but Murphy tries to counter. Carrillo is evading. and until Murphy has had enough, and he just throws him down on the floor. He's done with him. Back in the ring, Murphy covers Carrillo, but only gets 2. Starts wearing him down. Carrillo then eventually gets a hurricane run on Murphy, who again rolls to the outside. Carrillo goes for a dive. Then Murphy just moves. That's the Zack Sabre Jr. school right there. You see someone coming in, moonsaulting off of something, coming in for a dive, just move. That's all you got to do. Move. Murphy drives him into the post and gets him back in the ring. He covers him, but only gets 2. We get some top rope shenanigans that end with Murphy eating a back body drop on the apron. Springboard body press by Carrillo covers Murphy, but only gets 2. And the springboard kick on Murphy goes up top, and he hits a top rope crossbody, covers it again. Murphy kicks out. We get some more top rope shenanigans between the two, and it ends with a missile hesitation dropkick by Carrillo right to Murphy's head, covers him and only gets 2. Carrillo then chases Murphy down. He eats a boot, and we're in for more top rope shenanigans, folks. Murphy shoves him off. Carrillo lands on his feet, gets back up. Instead, Murphy flapjacks him off the top rope. Top rope sunset flip, deadlifts Carrillo into a sit-out powerbomb, covers him, and only gets 2. Now, the audience, for at least for the better part of 205 Live tonight, or last night, excuse me. I'm talking about it tonight. The show was last night. The audience was dead. It was like silent. There was nothing going on, and I think at this point, the audience was chanting, "This is awful," I think that's what they were chanting, and Buddy Murphy got a kick out of it. He was like, no. He was like, "You guys just wait." And to be frank, I'll be Warren instead, to be transparent with you guys and gals, this wasn't all that great either. There was a lot of chemistry missing between the two. And again, it just felt a little plodding. Not that they weren't botching any moves. There was nothing wrong about what they were doing. It was just a bit of a strange pace that they were at. I think the idea that they built up the match to, anyone who wants to have a shot can come in. You do kind of get your hopes up. I got my hopes up last week. And I think everyone sort of, was sort of excited. And when Carrillo came out, and like, wait, who's this guy? I think it did suck a little bit of the air out of the room. They also could have sent like Kyle O'Reilly. That would have been massive. Can you imagine Kyle O'Reilly versus Buddy Murphy? That would have been stunning. So, I think there's a combination of things that brought it to this situation. And don't forget, here's another thing that you have to keep in mind. These people in that audience right there, just maybe an hour before this, 45 minutes at the most, they had watched Andrade Cien Almas and Rey Mysterio put on a match of the year contender right then and there. You see these other guys trying to do something like that, and man, the bar is high. Anyway, there's the chant. Murphy sort of like grinning at it. He's like, no. And I'm like, oh, he's doing heel work. But no, he was basically saying, hang on, you jerks. You ain't seen nothing yet. They do a series of block suplexes, they being Carrillo and Murphy. And Murphy eventually gets lifted up and lands badly on his knee. He tweaks his knee. And they do an extended sequence where Murphy is having legitimately hurt his leg. The referee is talking into his earpiece, and another ref comes out and he's removing his knee pads and stuff, and referee's keeping Carrillo away, and it's a rather extended sequence to a point where I was like, well, maybe there is something wrong here, but no, this was a ruse. This was a trap, because as Carrillo at some point comes to check in on the fallen Murphy picks him up, pump handles him for Murphy's Law, but Carrillo reverses it into a pinfall. Oh, but Murphy kicks out. There's some combo. Now, from this point on, the match is like running at 100%. There's a combo of strikes by Murphy, but Carrillo hits a spinning kick. Murphy goes to the outside. Carrillo dives and launches Murphy with the dive, launches Murphy over the announce table. Carrillo gets Murphy back into the ring to go up top. And then as he's flying off, he eats a jumping knee by Murphy that the cameras did not catch because the cameras were too busy shooting Murphy's back. That allows Murphy to hit the Murphy's Law and win the match. I mean, those last 2 minutes were so good. I was like, why didn't they work this pace? Why was it so? Because again, here's the thing. If you're debuting this guy, this Humberto guy, if you're debuting him, if he's going to be a part of the roster, and you've set the stage last week for just about anyone to come out, people are going to start thinking, maybe we're going to get someone good. Maybe we're going to get someone good. Someone that's going to be a surprise. It's not a surprise. It's literally a new guy. You want the new guy to look his best. He doesn't have to win the match, of course. Don't want your champ to look weak in this situation. That's for sure. But I mean, there is, they could have booked this for it to not be as padded. It's like relaxed. John in the chat says too slow build. Yeah, and then after too slow, but yeah, that's it. I mean, it's not even a slow build. It didn't even build to something. It was just like there's this one event that happens that boom, suddenly triggers a series of really, really fast-paced action, which ends as quickly as it started. That's not a build. That's not what a build is. A build is what Almas and Mysterio did on Tuesday night. That was a build. That starting slow and getting to your crescendo. That was magic. This was that wasn't it. So I think there's a whole bunch of circumstances here that didn't help this match. If it had been someone that the audience would have recognized or put in a worker, I swear, like at some point I was like, wouldn't it just be funny? Like just for giggles. It's Kyle O'Reilly. Would have been fantastic. Cyborg in the chat, they really need to put 205 Live before SmackDown. This is something that they have to do one of two things. There's two schools of thought on this, and they really have to do one of two things. You either put them before SmackDown begins, and this is the thing that I am a proponent of. If they want to continue having the Cruiserweights tour with the SmackDown crew, you put them on before the main show starts. You tape it. People are excited to see some wrestling. They haven't seen their superstars. They haven't seen the Daniel Bryans, the AJ Styles, the Beckys, the Charlottes, the Asukas. They haven't seen them all. So they're still hungry. They want to see some action. Give them some high-flying action. They'd be fantastic. Instead of putting them at the end where everyone's exhausted, y'all saw everyone that you paid to see. Or every month when you extend your stay at Full Sail an extra day, and you make it the home for 205 Live as well. It's one of the reasons why NXT works so well and is such a fun show to watch is because of the audience, and the audience uh, is part of the show because it's their building. They know the wrestlers. They go there at every taping. It's always the same faces you see in the crowd. So you have 205 Live joining, having their Full Sail, their day at Full Sail. The audience will get to know the cruiserweights. They won't sit on their hands. They'll get excited. It's either or. I mean, there's most definitely economic benefit for doing this. There's something in the purely logistic approach here that makes sense for WWE, that in which they make some money. If the way 205 Live is handled right now, if it was not being profitable for WWE, if it was an expense, just in the purest sense of the word, they would have pulled the plug. They would have changed gears. They would have done something else. Get them off the tour with the 205 Live crew, for sure. Anyway, again, something I don't say very often. This was a very bland edition of 205 Live. After 2 weeks of really good episodes, it's a bit of a bummer. Hey, you know what? Don't let it get you down, folks. Won't let it get me down. Watch them bounce back. It's just a lull. A wee lull. NXT began tonight with the Street Profits versus the Metro Brothers, Chris and JC, they have the best look. They really do have the best look. Street Profits are over with the Full Sail crowd, guys, gals. Holy crap. These guys could do anything and it'd work at this stage. Everyone knows their gestures and everything they do. Montez Ford, man. What a guy. They'll be curious to see what happens when they start pushing this guy as a singles act, but man, he's got some intangibles. He starts off the match against Chris Metro. I love these guys so much. Their look was fantastic. Montez double leapfrogs Chris of the Metro Brothers, then ends with a drop kick. Then they have some double team offense. Funny, bit of an odd moment too. The Street Profits are psyching themselves up. It's like, yeah, and they're shoving each other in each other's chests. And all of a sudden, it's like Angelo Dawkins just like shoves Montez Ford all the way down, and Montez looks legitimately surprised. It looked like was it a shoot hug? Not hug, a shoot shove. Was it a shoot shove or a working shove? It kind of looked like a shoot shove. This is where these are these moments here that you require the expertise of Sean Ross Sapp, who will look at a move and tell you straight like that it's a shoot. It's a work. He'll tell you like that. I'm not quite sure. But Ford looked legitimately surprised. Anyway, not much. I mean, it's a very, very much an enhancement match, and the Metro Bros got nothing in. Like absolutely nothing in. Ford wins the match with his frog splash. And as the Street Profits are celebrating, the Forgotten Sons run out. Cutler and Blake at first, and then Riker, and he creams both Ford and Dawkins. Ford even eats a sit-out powerbomb in the middle of the ring. They keep telling you, did you forget about us? Everyone had forgotten about us. Full Sail's chatting along and saying, you're forgotten, I think. That was pretty funny. I like that. I like Full Sail. It's a fun crowd. But I gotta tell you guys, I'm not sold on the Forgotten Sons. I really am not. But I mean, if they want to start putting them as serious contenders, I think that it's a logical fit to start to put them in a feud with the Street Profits. Technically speaking, we're a couple of months away from the Dusty Cup, right? That's coming up. Who are your tag teams? You got War Raiders, you have Undisputed Era, Street Profits, Metro Bros. Who else? Who's left at this point? Well, Lorcan and Birch, right? I guess, you could pull some tag teams from NXT UK if you wanted. You could get the European Union back. You could bring the Mustache Mountain dudes if you really wanted again. But yeah, you sort of have to start mixing it up with the tag teams here. We'll see what happens. You got Matt Riddle, who's backstage with Limitless Keith Lee being interviewed. Keith Lee is defending his bro's honor. And Riddle says he's not medically cleared to be at ringside. Wow. Now that is some big time concussion protocol. And kayfabe, of course, because he was hit in the head a lot last week. I'm assuming that's what it is, since he's not medically cleared to just hang around at ringside. Or maybe Steven Regal, Steven Regal. Look at me. I'm WCW circa 1994. That's me, Steven Regal. William Regal probably knows his wrestlers quite well and figures, well, I'm not going to send Matt Riddle. He's just going to get involved and he's going to hurt himself even more. So he's not going to be around to watch out for Lee. We get an Aleister Black promo where he says he wants to absolve Tommaso Ciampa of his sins and win back the title, and he challenges them to start fighting next week. Why wait till Phoenix, Tommaso? Let's get to it, man. Another great promo from Aleister. Nice and fiery and in tune with his character. I've been putting over his promo work week after week since he's returned from his injury, from his groin injury. Yeah, I think someone has understood how to get Aleister to deliver his promos, because they've been good. They've been taped, but they've been good. They haven't all been taped. The past couple of weeks they have, but they've still been great. Bianca Belair comes to the ring. And she cuts a promo and she says that she's got her eyes on the prize. She says she's walking out of Phoenix with the title because she is undefeated. She's not able to finish her catchphrase, which will only last for so long, because Shayna Baszler's music hits. Shayna Baszler comes out. She's flanked by Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir. Shayna says she comes on, she says, Bianca, we all know about the records you broke at the Performance Center. You're the fastest, you're the strongest, but obviously you're not the smartest. You're a big dummy, Bianca. Well, she didn't say that. At this point, I'm paraphrasing. Shayna says that I love this. This really made me chuckle. Shayna says, you can be as strong as you want, but what are you going to do? Says I am going to tear both your arms off of you at TakeOver Phoenix. And Bianca responds by saying the only thing these arms are going to be doing is holding that title at TakeOver Phoenix. Now, Bianca, I think it'd be a good idea to use your arms for something other than holding the title during your match with Shayna Baszler. I mean, they're going to have to be doing just a little more than holding a title. So maybe Shayna's right. Maybe Bianca's not exactly the smartest. You get what she meant. It was fine. It's just strange to hear. Shayna continues drilling into her. He says, you're just like everybody else. They don't put their money where their mouth is. They don't want to fight me. You're afraid to fight me. You're afraid I'm going to silence the hype. You're afraid I'm going to change your vocabulary from undefeated to overrated. Ooh, and that stings because there's a lot of debate online regarding Bianca Belair. Some people do consider it to be overrated, and those people are nuts. But that was amazing. This is what Shayna Baszler was the woman of 2018. Don't care how great Becky Lynch became during the latter part of the year. There hasn't been on WWE a more consistent female wrestler that has elevated her game so sufficient. No, that's not true. You can talk about Ronda. All right, we'll talk about NXT. But there's parallels here. Because Ronda's been stunning in 2018. How she took to wrestling is just mind-boggling. Okay, well, we'll talk about Shayna. But look, Shayna, it doesn't never mind Ronda. Shayna's been fantastic. Her curve, her learning curve has been like this. She had only been improving, getting better. She's had all the opportunities to showcase how great she's become. I remember when she started the year and with her feud with Ember Moon, it was like, her promos were so-so. It was, they were good. You started to get a feel for her character, but man, the more she got into it, she invests herself into it, and now she's so damn credible as a legitimate threat. She was her feud with Kairi Sane just put it over. She is so good. She's so good in the ring, and she knows what her character is. She knows what to do when it's time to cut her promos. She's convincing. She's great. She was on fire. She just torched Bianca Belair tonight. So what does Bianca Belair, what does she have to do to respond? The only thing she can do here to respond is slap Shayna Baszler and dodge a kick from Jessamyn Duke and hit the bricks. Get out of here. Yeah, she ran out. This is going to be a fun match. It is, though. Next, we get Adrian Jaud versus Dominik Dijakovic. Still doesn't roll off the tongue. Jaud here he was a lot of fun to watch in this enhancement match. I like how NXT sometimes they'll have these enhancement matches for their name talent, but the enhancement talents have windows, have opportunities to really put on a show of what they can do. Like, it's not strictly a squash match. And Jaud here was a lot of fun to watch. He's a shooter. Like, you can tell by the way he goes. It's just crazy. He drives Dijakovic into the corner. He lifts him and takes him down to the mat like a legit MMA takedown. I'm going to call it an MMA takedown because it's not my forte. It's not my expertise to know the names of all these moves here. Sorry, purists. Dijakovic tries to get back up, but Jaud keeps him down, showing some great mat skills. He's extremely credible in what he does. Nice, super nice fireman's carry takeover to keep Dijak down. Jaud backs him into the corner again. Dijakovic takes him down with a forearm. He strikes out in the corner, release suplex on Jod, who comes back with some body shots, a front kick. Dijakovic fights back, lariats him down. Apparently, it's called the Bloodline. He stomps Jod on the mat, and then it's cool. And then Jod then grabs his foot as he's stomping him and tries to lock in a knee bar. And again, probably Sean would say, when you're in a fighting situation, you're always looking for opportunities to strike back at your opponents, to snap something on. Well, Jod saw an opening here with the stomps, and was like, he grabbed it, tried to get a like a knee bar on him, but Dijakovic reaches the ropes to break up the hole. Jod runs the ropes and eats a huge boot to the face. Dijakovic hits the Feast Your Eyes, which is like an Argentine backbreaker transition into a knee lift. That's the win. Dijakovic is another guy that they're probably going to invest a lot in to try and build up in the division. I'm excited to see how that goes. We get a bit of a segment, a moment, a promo for the War Raiders, who are having a Viking funeral for a pair of Undisputed Era chairs. Well, I won't sit here and pretend that I know a lot about Viking culture. So if for them, at some point you just have to burn furniture, well, I think we should respect that. And if they're burning it in the effigy of the Undisputed Era, I'm sure it has some significance for, when ancient Vikings went pillaging on their Drakars. John says, I wonder if these chairs were at the wedding of Hansen and Sarah Logan. Maybe someone with bad intentions snuck them in under their robe. Maybe hid it under some bear skins. I actually watched the video of that. I actually watched the Viking wedding. It was actually pretty touching. It was really well done. You should, if you haven't taken the time to take a look to check it out, you should. It was a lot of fun, and you can tell, Logan and Hansen, they are completely into it, completely into the Viking stuff, and everyone else. They made their own costumes, or it's not costumes, it's garb. They're not costumes because they're not playing dress up. This was a legit thing. And I'm happy for them. I don't want to be too stupid about it. You do whatever floats your boat as far as your wedding goes. If you want to dress up as Vikings, go ahead. If you want to dress up as Sonic the Hedgehog and what's her name? Amy the Hedgehog. You do you. The one thing, though, a couple of years ago, I saw some people who had a Minions wedding. And that, to me, that's where I draw the line. That's unacceptable. Minions. Yellow and blue and black. Bleh, bleh. All right, next we had Johnny Gargano versus Humberto Carrillo. A double dose of Carrillo. He had a much better wedding here tonight. He had a much, much better wedding here tonight. Wedding. He had a much better match. Carrillo's wedding against Johnny Gargano was much better than what he had with Buddy Murphy. Yeah, so basically, we get a doubleheader of Carrillo tonight. Johnny takes him down with an ankle lock, but Carrillo kips up out of it, and they do some twisting arm locks on each other, reversing in and out. Gargano comes in with some strikes, Lots of nice, smooth evasiveness follows. Enziguri by Carrillo, who follows with a lucha arm drag. Sends Gargano to the outside, but he gets back on the apron as Carrillo runs the ropes. And as he bounces back, Gargano hits him with the slingshot spear. Snapmare follows, kick to the back of the net. He gets Carrillo in an abdominal stretch. He reverses out, gets some kicks, some straight rights in. Slingshot cartwheel back elbow by Carrillo. Tope over the top rope, because that's usually what it is, right? On Gargano, and he got a lot of height on that. That was nice. Missile drop kick follows. Rolling standing moonsault covers. Gargano only gets 2. Carrillo goes up top. Goes for a moonsault again, but Johnny lifts his feet. Super kick, lawn dart, slingshot DDT, and that gets the win. That was a lot of fun. It was a nice, quick enhancement match. And honestly, Carrillo had a much better showing as far as energy and dynamics and fun. Had a lot more going here than had a lot more going. So yeah, it was fun. After the match, Johnny asks Ricochet, that he says, you want my respect? Well, I'll come out here next week and I'll give you all the respect you want. It's going to be a loaded show next week. Tommaso Ciampa and Aleister Black calling each other out. Johnny Gargano and Ricochet calling each other out. Speaking of Ciampa, he's backstage. He has his belt. Goldie. He kisses the nameplate. I've spoken about this before, right? But I want to point it out again. Ciampa, when he has the belt, when he lifts it, when he's looking at it, he never looks at the full NXT faceplate. He looks at the nameplates. He looks at his name. It's written Ciampa. And if you go back and you watch it, when he kisses the belt, he's not kissing the belt. He's kissing the side. He's kissing the nameplate. Like that. And when he goes to the ring and he lifts it up and he's looking at it, his eyes are always just slightly higher than he's looking at his name. It's so good. It's the little details like that. I just like to point it out because he does it. He does it all the time, and it just adds so much. It's a nice little detail. He says he's calling Aleister Black out, saying, you like to refer to me as a puppet master. Well, you, my friend, you're the ultimate puppet. You're gullible. I'm not going to come out next week and fight, but he does tell Aleister Black to be careful what he wishes for. Main event time, we have Cassius Ohno versus Keith Lee in a slappity slapper. Or at least that's what I expected. Lee starts by taking Cassius Ohno down with a shoulder block. He lifts Ohno over, and he slips out of the move. Ohno runs the ropes. Lee leapfrogs, then crossbodies Cassius Ohno, who covers him but only gets 2. He whips Ohno into the ropes, who hangs on to the ropes, doesn't bounce back, and rolls to the outside. Lee runs the ropes probably for a dive, but KO, again, using a lesson from the school of Zack Sabre Jr., just moves. He just moves. Story here that they're telling is that Cassius Ohno, he's been around the block a couple of times. He has a lot of experience. Ring IQ. He's a smart guy. Though there's a bit of stalling that follows as well, but Lee follows him to the outside, goes back into the ring. KO goes and gets in first. Lee follows, and Cassius Ohno tries to get a kick in, but Keith Lee catches it, and Ohno eats a forearm for his trouble. Big back body drop on Ohno follows. Ohno avoids being avalanched in the corner and boots Lee. Some more kicks to Lee's face. A senton covers Keith, but only gets 2. Ono gets Lee down with a weak sauce bow and arrow. Big forearm to Lee's face. There's an odd little sequence with a reversed Irish whip that ends with an arm wringer takedown. It was kind of strange. Not quite sure what was supposed to happen there, but it looked like they were covering for something. Ono goes for a senton again, but Keith Lee lifts the knees. He starts fighting back, avalanches Ono in the corner, flips him over across the ring, slingshot crossbody by Keith Lee, covers, only gets 2. Ono begs off. The right hand is easily blocked by Lee. And he clubs Ono down. Mongolian chop by Lee. He runs the ropes and hits a huge shoulder block that sends Ono flying. We're moving into the finishing sequence here where Lee picks Ono up into a fireman's carry, but Ono is hanging on to the ropes. He's trying to bring him into the middle of the ring. Ono is saying, oh no, this ain't gonna happen. I'm sorry. And in the little melee, because the referee comes over to try and get Keith Lee to release the hold, KO pushes the ref, low blow by Keith Lee while the ref is distracted, not distracted, but sort of drowsy, a little woozy, a little stunned. A low blow by Cassius Ono, taking a page out of the School of Nakamura. And he covers, well, he gets the rolling elbow, and then he covers Lee for the win. Then Matt Riddle comes out. He's still in his suit and his flippy floppies. They're trying to detain him from coming down, they being a bunch of officials, referees, because he's not medically cleared to be at ringside, damn it. Damn it. Get him backstage. If Johnny Saint were here, he'd be like, get him back. Get back into my office. William Regal's very credible. As a GM works. So that was NXT. I got to tell you, a bit of a slow episode tonight. Nothing terrible, but little weak on the action. I found. I mean, there was nothing wrong with Gargano versus Carrillo. That was fine. Ono versus Lee was fine. Told a good story. Nothing to get the blood pumping. Oh, well, yeah, we're saving it for next week, right? Next week is going to be the go-home show for TakeOver Phoenix, so we'll see what happens there. And we're going to wrap this one up. And I hope you guys enjoyed it very much. I want to thank everyone for joining me in the chat. And just to make sure, just to prove to you guys I wasn't lying, after the show, I'm going to jump onto the internet. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Warren Hayes, and I'm going to find that article where those people got married in a Minions theme. I will find it. I will put it on my Twitter as soon as we're done. So you can go check that out at Mr. Warren Hayes. In the meantime, I want to thank everyone for watching. Thank you so much for joining us in the chat, but thank you for watching or listening here on Fightful Select. Thank you for supporting Fightful Select. This really is the best way for you to show your support for the site. We really do appreciate it. Tell your friends now. Your work is not done. Just because you're giving us your money, you think we're not going to have you work? Tell your friends about the service. Have them come over. Fightful, man. It's growing. It's becoming fantastic. More and more fantastic as every day goes by. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I'll see you next time.